Let's be real. Most people think irrigation is all about timers and pipes, but the sprinkler heads, that's where the magic happens. Whether you're trying to keep turf green, flowers blooming, or a ball field playable, your sprinklers are doing the heavy lifting. I'm Dr. Denise DeBusk, and in this section, we're going to explore the different types of sprinklers, nozzles, and special features that help you get water right where you need it and keep it there efficiently. Think of sprinklers as the delivery team for your irrigation system. The sprinkler body holds the nozzle, and that nozzle is what controls how the water comes out. You'll run into spray heads, gear-driven rotors, and impact sprinklers, each with their own strengths. But performance isn't just about the type. It's also affected by your water pressure, spacing, nozzle choice, and even how clean your system is. When sprinklers are matched and maintained properly, you get that beautiful even coverage, and your plants stay happy. Spray heads are your go-to for small, compact areas like flower beds, parkway strips, or tightly landscaped zones. These heads pop up when water pressure hits, spraying a fixed fan pattern that mimics rainfall. They're best for areas with less than 15 feet of throw distance, and they run at a higher pressure. Make sure to space them based on head-to-head coverage and match the nozzles to get uniform water distribution. If the pressure is too high, you'll get misting, which means your water is floating away on the breeze instead of soaking your plants. You know when you see a sprinkler that looks more like a fog machine? That's usually a pressure problem. The water's coming out way too fast. And that's where pressure-regulated spray bodies, or PRS, come in. A lot of newer spray heads have this built right into the riser, helping reduce those high inlet pressures. We're talking from 70 to 100 psi down to something much more manageable, like 30, 40, or 45 psi depending on the model. If you're not sure it's pressure regulated, just look at the cap. Most will have PRS or the pressure rating molded right on top. This little feature is a game changer. It cuts down on misting, gives your nozzle a more consistent spray, and helps avoid runoff. It's especially helpful in systems where the pressure varies a lot from zone to zone. Ever notice those bright lavender-colored sprinkler heads or valve boxes and wonder what's going on? That color isn't just for style. It's actually a safety signal. When a system uses reclaimed or non-potable water, it has to be clearly marked to prevent accidental drinking or contact. An industry standard says, "Go lavender." You'll usually see those parts labeled with "Do not drink" or similar warnings stamped right on them. These markings show up on spray heads, valve boxes, and other system components. It's not just about compliance, it's about keeping people and pets safe. Plus, it's a quick visual check for inspectors and maintenance crews to know what kind of water they're working with. Some pressure-regulated spray bodies go the extra mile with a flow shutoff feature. What that means is, if the nozzle pops off or breaks, the body automatically shuts the water down instead of gushing like a geyser. It's a simple feature that can save gallons of water and prevent landscape flooding when something goes wrong. You might have seen that little burst of water when a sprinkler pops up. That's blow-by, and it's normal. It happens when the riser is pushing up and a bit of water leaks before the wiper seal fully engages. Some models have low blow-by designs, which help reduce wasted water over time, something worth considering for long-term savings. When we talk about nozzle trajectory, we're talking about the angle at which water shoots out of the nozzle. It's not just about how far it sprays. The angle affects the height, the distance, and how much that spray gets blown around by the wind. There are three main types of nozzle angles. Standard angle, usually around 22 to 30 degrees, this is your go-to. It's the most common because it gives a nice, even coverage for most open turf and landscaped areas. Low angle, around 10 to 15 degrees, this one is your friend on windy days or if you're trying to keep the water low and tight to avoid overspray. Flat angle, 0 to 5 degrees, this gives you a straight, almost horizontal stream, perfect for tight spots under tree branches or building overhangs. The goal here is to match the trajectory to the landscape so you get even water distribution and don't waste water where it's not needed. When we talk about a nozzle's arc, we're talking about how much of a circle the spray pattern covers. Full circle, 360 degrees, half, 180 degrees, quarter, 90 degrees, or somewhere in between. Picking the right arc is key because you want water to land only where it's needed, not on sidewalks or driveways. Now let's look at fixed arc nozzles. These spray in a consistent fan shape and are preset to specific angles. Some are short range, like 2 to 6 feet, which makes them great for small beds or tight spots. But just keep in mind that they often have high precipitation rates, which means more water applied in less time. You'll also see advanced options like the Toro Precision nozzle. It mimics the movement of a rotating nozzle without having any moving parts, thanks to a specially designed orifice. The result? Better coverage and less runoff. And don't forget the strip nozzles. These spray in long, narrow rectangles, making them perfect for medians or skinny turf areas. Getting the arc and nozzle type right helps you avoid waste, improve efficiency, and make the system work smarter, not harder. Stream spray nozzles are a bit different from your standard spray nozzles. Instead of a fan-shaped spray pattern, they produce multiple individual fixed streams of water that stay in place. These streams don't rotate or move like a rotor. They're consistent and precise. You'll often find these used in shrub beds or ground cover areas where a low-level targeted application is needed. That kind of precise watering helps avoid runoff and keeps water right where the plants need it. Many of these nozzles also let you adjust the arc and radius, which adds flexibility depending on the layout of the bed. But one important thing to remember, don't use stream spray nozzles on turf. Their pattern just doesn't provide the uniform coverage that grass needs, so you'll end up with dry spots or overwatering in others. They have a specific purpose, and when used in the right spot, they're incredibly efficient. Bubbler nozzles are all about high volume, low pressure watering delivered directly to the root zone. They're designed to apply more water than drip emitters, but in a localized area, which makes them perfect for shrubs, trees, or deeply mulched beds, but definitely not for turf. These nozzles work best when paired with a soil basin or berm around the plant. That helps the water soak in right where the plant needs it instead of running off. Now there are two main types of bubblers. Flood bubblers, which gently trickle water in a dome or umbrella shape right over the root area. Stream bubblers, which shoot out tiny arched streams of water, usually about 1 to 2 feet out from the nozzle. Both styles support deep watering with minimal evaporation or runoff, especially when the system is properly designed and adjusted. It's all about getting that water down deep without wasting a drop. Most spray nozzles have a little slotted screw right in the center. That's the radius adjustment screw. It gives you a small amount of control over how far the water throws. And when I say small, I mean small. You might get a 10% reduction tops. So if you're working with a 15-foot nozzle, adjusting that screw, you might get down to around 14 or 14 and a half feet. It's really more of a fine-tuning tool than a solution for major coverage changes. One thing that trips people up, if the spray screen isn't installed correctly, that screw won't do anything. The water just pushes right through, and your adjustment goes out the window. So if the radius screw doesn't seem to be working, check the screen. Every spray nozzle should come with a screen, sometimes called a filter. And trust me, you don't want to skip it. These little guys are either built into the nozzle or inserted into the top of the riser before you screw the nozzle on. Can the nozzle work without the screen? Technically, yes. Should you skip it? Absolutely not. The screen helps catch debris before it clogs the nozzle, and some nozzles are nearly impossible to clean once they're gunked up. Also, if you're trying to adjust the throw distance using the radius adjustment screw, it only works if the screen is in place. No screen equals no pressure regulation from that screw. Bottom line, a tiny screen can prevent major problems, so don't leave it out. Let's talk about what's stamped on top of your spray nozzle. This little info tells you a lot. You'll usually see two things: the radius, how far it throws in feet, the arc or spray pattern. For example, if it says 10Q, that means it throws 10 feet in a quarter circle pattern. 15TQ would be 15 feet in a 3/4 circle. If you see 15 SST, It's a side strip nozzle spraying something like 4 feet by 15 feet. Needs more specifics? The manufacturer's catalog is your best friend. It'll list all those codes and special shapes. Now look around the edge of the nozzle. You'll notice tick marks. These mark the start and stop points of the arc, and the more ticks there are, the bigger the spray pattern. Full circle nozzles, no ticks at all. So when you're aiming or making adjustments, those little marks help line everything up perfectly. Rotating nozzles are a water-efficient alternative to traditional sprays, and they come in fixed arc and adjustable arc versions. You'll also find them labeled by radius range or strip pattern, just like standard nozzles. Now from the outside, they look about the same size as regular spray nozzles, but inside, there's a tiny gear mechanism. That gear powers a rotating turret with multiple nozzle orifices. Here's how it works. One stream might go just a few feet. Another hits the maximum throw distance. Others fill in medium zones. As the turret slowly rotates, these streams sweep across the zone in a repeating pattern, ensuring the entire area gets watered evenly. When spaced correctly with head-to-head coverage, rotating nozzles are known for excellent uniformity and precise water distribution. That makes them a smart choice when you're looking to conserve water and maintain healthy, consistent turf. Rotor sprinklers are those heads that spin to spread water in a smooth arc, and they're great for covering larger spaces without overdoing it on water. The most common kind you'll see is the gear-driven rotor. It uses water pressure to power a little internal gearbox, no electricity needed, which is pretty cool. Smaller rotors usually send out one rotating stream, while the bigger ones might have two streams going in opposite directions to cover more ground. You'll see pop-up versions tucked into lawns and taller fixed height ones in shrub beds or nurseries. They're grouped by size, small, medium, and large. And the bigger they are, the more pressure and flow they need. These guys shine in wide open spaces like medium sports fields or any place where a spray head just can't reach. Large gear-driven rotors are the go-to for big jobs. Think sports fields and wide open turf areas. Depending on the brand, they pop up anywhere from 2 to 12 inches and usually connect with a 1 inch or 1.5 inch thread. Most of them let you swap out nozzles so you can dial in the spray distance and flow that fits the space. Some even have low flow options to help you save water. You've also got great built-in features: adjustable arcs from 40 degrees to full circle, stainless steel risers, perfect for sandy soils, shutoff valves for easy maintenance, pressure regulation, check valves to stop puddles at low points, and even turf cups so the sprinkler just blends into the grass. Bottom line, these rotors are tough, customizable, and designed to handle the heavy lifting. Adjusting the arc on a gear drive is easier than it looks once you know how your model works. You'll use the tool that comes with it, usually a little hex key or sometimes just a small flat screwdriver. The nozzle spins between a fixed starting point, think of it like your home base, and the adjustable side. Some models adjust clockwise, others counterclockwise, so always check the brand instructions. To increase or decrease the arc, you're basically widening or narrowing how far that adjustable side swings. And if you're doing this with the water off, a bat wing pull-up tool can really help you grab the riser without digging in the dirt. Let's talk about how to install a nozzle on a gear-driven rotor. You'll use the little slot right above the nozzle opening to get started. Slide the nozzle in so it sits flush with the turret. Make sure that alignment tab is pointing straight up at 12 o'clock. Once it's in, gently tighten the break-up screw just enough to hold the nozzle in place. Don't overdo it. You still want a nice, clean stream. The screw helps fine-tune the spray, but its main job here is just to keep the nozzle secure. Stream rotors are a type of gear-driven sprinkler, but instead of just one stream, they shoot out several rotating streams of water. Great for even coverage and a little visual flair too. You'll see them used in both residential and commercial landscapes, and they come in 6 inches, 12 inches, and shrub height models. Just like other rotors, they're available in adjustable arc styles. Those can be dialed in using the top ring or in a fixed arc models where you'll pop in an arc disc and thread the nozzle through it. They give you the look and pattern of a rotating spray nozzle, but with the performance and efficiency of a rotor. Gear drive sprinklers work a lot like spray heads when they first start up. When the system is off, the inner mechanism stays tucked down inside the body. But once the water comes on, it pushes that internal riser up while compressing the spring under the cap. That pressure also expands the wiper seal around the riser, creating a tight seal to keep the water from leaking out. Next, water flows through the filter basket. Some of that water heads into the gearbox, where a stator regulates how much reaches the turbine. That stator helps control the rotation speed so the sprinkler turns steadily, even if the water pressure changes. The rest of the water bypasses the gears and flows straight into the nozzle. The turbine powers a series of gears that slowly turn the turret, the part that holds the nozzle. As it rotates, the nozzle sprays water across the arc. On part circle models, there's a reversing mechanism that flips the direction when it hits the end of its arc. Don't forget the little breakup screw on top. It does double duty. It holds the nozzle in place, and it lets you tweak the spray radius by about 25%. And just like spray heads, when the water shuts off, the spring pulls the riser back down. A small bit of water pushes past the seal on its way down to flush out any dirt or debris that might have gotten in there. Impact rotors, usually just called impacts, use a spring-loaded arm that smacks the water stream to make the sprinkler rotate. That tapping motion gives them their signature sound, tick, 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 and sets them apart from gear-driven rotors. There are two main styles: pop-up impacts that retract when the water's off, and stationary ones that stay above ground. While gear-driven rotors have mostly taken over on athletic fields and large commercial sites, you'll still see impacts in a lot of residential systems. They're tough, reliable, and easy to spot once you know what to look for. Pop-up impact sprinklers used to come in a wide range of inlet sizes: 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, and even 1 1/4 inch, and were used everywhere from homes to golf courses. These days, the larger ones aren't really installed anymore, but you might still see them in older systems. The 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch models are still around, mostly for residential use. They actually have great coverage, but here's the catch. Their open body design makes them more prone to collecting debris. That can cause them to stick up or jam. That's one reason gear drives, with their closed cases, have mostly taken their place in in-ground systems. Modern pop-up impacts usually have both bottom and side inlets for easier piping options. Some even offer interchangeable nozzles and come in both adjustable part circle and full circle models, just like gear drives. Unlike pop-up impacts, stationary impact sprinklers don't retract. They're mounted on a fixed riser or base and stay above ground all the time. You'll often see them in nurseries and grower operations, but they're also a great option for home vegetable gardens or spots where installing an in-ground system just doesn't make sense. They come in a range of inlet sizes: 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, and even 1 1/4 inch to match different water flow needs. Depending on the setup, you might see heavy-duty bronze models for commercial use or lightweight plastic ones that are more budget-friendly. Both stationary and pop-up impact sprinklers work the same way at their core. When the water turns on, it flows through the sprinkler body and shoots out the nozzle in a steady stream. That stream hits a little arm or lever that gets pushed out of the way. As it swings back, a spring pulls it right into the water again. Every time the lever snaps back and hits the stream, it nudges the sprinkler head a tiny bit, causing it to rotate step by step. If it's a full circle impact rotor, it just keeps spinning around until the water shuts off. But if it's a part circle model, it has little trip stops set to mark the limits of the arc. Once it hits those, it reverses direction and moves back the other way, creating that back and forth motion to cover just the area you want. Drip irrigation is all about efficiency. It gets water exactly where it's needed, right at the root zone. Instead of spraying water over a wide area, drip systems deliver it slowly through emitters, tubing, or drip tape. They're especially useful for shrubs, flower beds, vegetable gardens, and trees. Any place where you're looking for deep, consistent watering without wasting water. Because the flow rate is so low, you'll usually need a filter and a pressure regulator to keep everything working right. And since water is going directly into the soil, you'll lose a lot less to evaporation and wind drift. If you're designing for plant health and sustainability, drip irrigation is a strong go-to option, especially here in Florida, where we're always thinking about water conservation. Micro emitters are the fine-tuned version of drip irrigation. Instead of slow dripping, they apply water in a small pattern, just enough to target individual plants or containers. You'll see these a lot in nurseries, hanging baskets, or landscape beds with tight spacing. There are a few different types: microsprays for a fine mist, bubblers for deep watering at the base, and little sprinklers that spin or wiggle for broader coverage. What's great is that many of them are adjustable, so you can dial in the flow depending on the plant's needs. They're also perfect when you're dealing with delicate plants or foliage that doesn't like getting blasted with spray. Just keep in mind they need clean water and a good filter, just like drip systems, to avoid clogging. When installing a drip or microirrigation system, everything starts with the drip control zone valve. This isn't just a valve, it's a little powerhouse that includes a filter and pressure regulator. You need that filter to keep debris out, and the regulator drops the pressure to a level that won't blow out your tubing or emitters. Alternatively, you can install microirrigation at a hose bib with a filter, pressure regulator, and backflow preventer. From there, you connect your half-inch distribution tubing. That's the main line. Off of that, you'll run quarter-inch tubing to your individual emitters or micro devices. You can use barbed fittings or punch emitters directly into the main line, depending on your layout. Make sure your emitters are placed near the base of the plant, right at the root zone. That's where the water needs to go, not all over the leaves. Before you cap the system, flush it out to get rid of any loose debris. It's a simple setup once you got your control zone in place, and it's one of the most efficient ways to water. We've covered a lot, so here are the big takeaways. Spray heads are great for small areas, while rotor sprinklers work best for larger spaces. Matching nozzle type, arc, and radius to the landscape is key for efficient water use. Adjustments like pressure regulation and arc control give us better coverage and help prevent runoff or dry spots. Then we looked at microirrigation, which is all about precision. Drip emitters and micro emitters deliver water right to the root zone, perfect for plants that don't like wet leaves or for conserving water in beds and shrubs. Don't forget, every drip system starts with a drip control zone valve. That little unit handles filtering and pressure regulation to protect your system. Together, these tools give us options to design systems that are both effective and efficient, no matter the landscape.